Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to look at the subreddit r/entitledparents, where people tell us their stories of crazy mums and dads who think they're entitled just because they have kids. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some Reddit stories. Entitled mother calls police on public library. Get detained. The cast. Me, police officer 1 and 2, entitled mother, and good stepmom. This happened yesterday and we have a meeting about it later today. I work for a library in a small rural town. We have a policy: if anyone calls or comes in looking for someone, we are not allowed to tell them if they are here or not, or where they can find them. This is cases if someone is looking to fight someone, or a random is looking for a child that may or may not be theirs. Now, with that logic in place, let's set the scene. I was working circulation last night, and around 6 PM we get a call. I answer. Hello, this is Annon County Library. How may I help you? Yes, I'm looking for my daughter. She gives a brief description of the child. She should be there, she came in with another lady. Sorry ma'am, we are not allowed to tell you who's here or not, as we cannot verify that you are who you claim to be. What? We cannot tell you if a child is here because we cannot verify if you are the parent. What the hell? She pauses and gets distance. I hear her yell to somebody in the background. They won't tell if she's there because they can't verify if I'm the parent of my own goddamn daughter. She abruptly hangs up the phone. Since we're the only two there for closing for the night, I tell my coworker we might get an angry lady in looking for a child. She already knows we can't tell her anything. What's important is that she is at reference while I'm at circ. She basically looks after study rooms and computer labs, while I look at the stacks so no one can watch desk. And sure enough, about 10 to 15 minutes later, entitled mother huffs into the place. Where is my daughter? This is a library, ma'am. You need to lower your voice or you need to leave. And I told you on the phone we are not allowed to tell you who is here, but you can have a look around. To tell me to lower my goddamn voice? I'm looking for my daughter. Now, where is she? Again, I cannot tell you. Now lower your voice and stop cussing, or I will be forced to call the police to escort you out of the building. Little side note, our library is right next to the police station, like directly across. We're neighbors. Entitled mother gets quiet and huffs around the place. We are not that big, so it takes about 5 minutes to look everywhere a patron can be. Once she's finished, she comes back, and this is where stuff really hits the fan. I couldn't find my daughter out there, I'm going to check back there. She points at the entrance to the staff-only back room for desk workers. Ma'am, you cannot go back there. There is only 2 of us working and I cannot allow you back there in the first place. It could be a liability. My daughter could be back there. Unlikely, as you have to have keys to open that door. Ma'am, the final answer is no. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You are being disruptive and disturbing the peace. No, I'm calling the police. You are holding my daughter hostage. What the? Entitled mother proceeds to actually call the police while I sit there dumbfounded. Around 5 minutes later, 3 police cars arrive for a retrieval of a child who wasn't there. As they walk in, entitled mother starts screeching. They have my daughter locked up in the back and won't let her out. The police officer looks confused because we're a public library. So I have to explain what's happening and unlock the staff-only room for them to search just in case. Entitled mother smirks and says, "Was that so hard, you idiot?" Police officer 2 speaks up. "Lady, there is no one back here. Do you know where your daughter was last?" "She was here last, and this idiot wouldn't tell me if she was here or not. Our policy is we can't tell you if someone is here, but you are free to look around. We do this to prevent people looking for suspicious people or looking for a specific person to fight, or in the case of children, so they are not abducted. We can't confirm you are the parent. Photos don't help because we don't know if they are not allowed to see the child because of visitation issues from divorce or loss of custody. In this case, it was the very last option. The police officer just shakes her head. Did he tell you this already? Yes, but... She starts to choke up. At this point, a woman and a girl walk in with snacks and drink from the gas station a couple blocks down. The good stepmother started to yell, "Why the hell are you here? Did you come here just to see my child? Are you insane? We have discussed this many times with the father. You can't be popping up trying to see the child." "But I miss my baby and I wanted to see her." "You lost that right when you left her in the car to buy illegal things, and you disappeared for hours. You are lucky she's even here." Entitled mother starts to bawl. The officers split up and talk to the good stepmother, while the other detains entitled mother to see if she needs to be arrested. Sadly, this is where it ends, as we were not told anything, but it was really crazy and pretty fun. I mean, we get a lot of weird people who come in, but this was by far the most exciting. So the entitled mother has like issues with the law, and then she called the police because she's about to do something that's illegal. Wow, absolutely 200 IQ right there. Mother thinks she has rights to my child and treats him like a doll to show off. My mother is the entitled parent in this story. Her and I have never had a great relationship. She resented me growing up because she was a single mom and never wanted children. So she would never spend time or engage with me and would instead throw money at me to show she cared. Now I'm grown up and independent and just had a baby of my own, and she feels entitled to my son. I have made certain decisions about his upbringing that I'm trying to adhere to. Nothing crazy, just trying to avoid using unnecessary products on him. No baby lotion, no diaper cream unless he gets a rash, homemade baby food, etc. He's now 4 months and it has been working well for us. My mother is very insistent that she gets to see him 2 to 3 times a week. She refers to herself as Glamma, a mix of glam and grandma, and has already procured a few times that say best grandma ever. I have been very hesitant to let her watch him for extended periods of time. I didn't have the best upbringing, and honestly believe she would not do what's best for my son. She has always been a very materialistic person, and extremely concerned about the image she presents to other people. So I get anxiety thinking of him staying overnight at her place. She keeps asking for him to spend the night, saying she's doing it for me because I need the sleep. But I know it's because she likes the novelty of having a baby around. She first started asking for him to spend the night at her place when he was 2 weeks old. I have said no every time. When she was first allowed to babysit him, I had to set ground rules because she kept trying to plan parties whenever he was over. She was trying to show him off to all her friends and neighbors. The thing is, he is a baby. Large groups of people are not good for babies because their immune systems are weak, and our city has had a number of measles outbreaks. I had to tell her repeatedly that she couldn't be inviting groups of strangers over to pass him around like a doll. She finally agreed, and I let him spend a few hours at her place. Still, she kept asking for him to spend the night. She also calls me every day, asking when he is going to visit her again and offering to take him off my hands for a few days like he is an inconvenience. My husband had to go to BC for a wedding, so I was alone for a week. It was hard. 6 days into it and I was at the end of my rope. I had barely had any adult interaction and had only slept 3 hours a day. So I call my mother up and ask her if my son and I can spend the night at her place. I needed sleep but didn't want to leave him there without me all night. I figured this would be a good compromise. I would be available if anything went wrong, and she would get off my back about him staying over. She had been nagging me for weeks about how I should just give him Pabulum and he would sleep through the night. He was a preemie and our pediatrician said to wait for solids, but she thought she knew best. I had to constantly tell her not to feed him anything but his milk. The night came where I was supposed to go to her place. I get there and there are 15 other people over. Turns out she was having a dinner party. Whether or not she had arranged this before I asked to come over, I don't know. I told her my son goes to bed at 8 and I really need to sleep. She assured me everyone would be gone by 9. That didn't happen. They ended up starting a bonfire and she's trying to get me to sit by the fire with my son. I tell her I don't want him around all that smoke. He's only 4 months old, so he needs to stay in the house. Besides, it's 8 and he needs to go to bed. She tells me I'm being unreasonable and should just let him sleep by the fire. I put my foot down and say no. He ends up in his bassinet and I'm waiting for the party to be done so I can sleep. Because my husband has been gone and I have been dealing with the babe of my own for 6 days, my sleep schedule has been completely out of whack. I was hoping to take some sleeping pills to get a good night's rest, since she was just going to eat him through the night. So now I'm waiting for her to come in and take over for me. 10 rolls around and she pops in for a drink before heading back out. I ask her how late the party is going to go, since I am desperate to get some sleep. She tells me it should be over soon, again, and that she can't stay in the house because she has guests over and she needs to entertain them. 10:45 comes around and she's still at the bonfire. Again, she comes in to grab something and she sees that I'm still up. She tells me I'm being silly and should just go to sleep. She doesn't seem to understand that I have insomnia and need to take the sleeping pills and can't do that until someone else can watch my son. The someone being her, since I asked and she offered. I remind her that I was there to sleep and was waiting on her. She then tells me I'm being ungrateful, since she had this party planned and she couldn't just ask everyone to leave. She said I should just go to sleep and not worry about my son so much. I tell her she can't be taking care of him if she's outside. She wouldn't even hear him if he woke up. She said I should stop stressing, that people will leave soon, and went back to her party. 11:30 comes around, and I am so tired I start crying. I can't sleep and wasn't getting the help I asked for. I decide to just take my son and go home. If I was doing it on my own, I'd rather be around my own things and in my own bed. I pack him up and send her a text saying she was too preoccupied to watch my son and that we were going home. She didn't even see my message until 12:30. How well could she have watched him if she didn't leave her bonfire until then? I ended up getting a string of messages saying how it was unfair of me to take him away, that I shouldn't say she didn't care because she spent $700 on him that day, so obviously she cared. I never mentioned anything about caring or not caring. She said I was being ungrateful because if I had stayed, I would have been able to sleep in the morning while she took care of him. I don't trust that for 1 minute she would have done right by him. Her guests were taking up all of her time. A week goes by and she asks twice again if he can stay the night at her place. I have no faith in her watching him overnight, but I agreed to let her watch him during the day Saturday. She says she's going to sleep in, but should pick him up around 9 or 10. 11 rolls around, and I haven't heard from her. I give her a call, and she says she just got home and that they can't pick him up until later. So I should just drop him off at her place. She was supposed to pick him up because she lives 30 minutes out of town on an acreage, but drives right past our house when she goes shopping. I tried telling her it's too inconvenient to drive him to her place. I'll just keep him with me. But she wears me down, and I eventually make the drive out to her place. I tell her I'll pick him up in the evening around 9:30 or 10. At 5, I get a text from her saying she's decided to have a bonfire and has invited a bunch of people over. Seriously? The exact same thing as the week before. And tell her again I don't want my son sitting in the hot sun or hanging around the smoke from the fire. I tell her I don't care what she does, but I will pick up my son if she can't watch him. She tells me she is watching him and I don't need to take him. I go to get him and I'm angry. I have asked her time and again to not have him around groups of strangers, not to have him around smoke, and she just won't listen. I didn't even want to send him to her place, but she just kept nagging that she should watch him. So I planned my day around him being with her, and then had to cancel a D&D game in the middle of the session because she couldn't respect my wishes. When I pick him up, she starts yelling that I'm being ungrateful. She was doing a great job watching him, and how much all her guests are loving him. She tells me that I'm unreasonable and rude. To top it off, she tells me that she's going to tell my Baba about my behavior, and that Baba will give me a talking to. What the heck, woman? I should have known better than to try and trust her. She insists on babysitting my dog every weekend. He has pancreatitis and can't eat fatty foods. He gets extremely sick, but she ignores when I say this and continues to feed him bacon, because he likes it. If she can't take care of a dog, how the hell did I think she could take care of a child? And the worst is how she keeps acting like a victim, saying I'm treating her unfairly. Man, I really needed to get this off my chest. If that was me, I'd probably just cut all contact with them, but I don't know the position, I don't know all the information, so just from that though, I would just get that out of my life. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.